when he came out here, he sold real estate, he sold insurance, he was on the, he was a town councilman, he put in all the straight roads, so any of you that live in those new suburbias where every street has the same name and they're all curvy and everything like that, we need more Armstrongs back here. He gave us all the nice straight roads. He was a big fan of driving, so he developed roads and things. What he also wanted to do in the Calgary area is develop a militia unit. Now the militia plays an extremely important role in Canada's military history, because more often than not we are relying on our militia rather than our military to do a lot of the fighting. So the militia are the weekend warriors. They are the men and women who wear uniforms on the weekend and train in the summer. They are our reservists, our part-time soldiers, rather than our regular force soldiers who are full-time in the military. And the militia have always played a very important role in Canada. Right from the get-go, if a Canadian is in a battle with the Brits or the French, they're 9 times out of 10, they're a militia unit. They are not a regular force unit. Our militia backed up the Brits. They backed up the Brits when they were fighting the Americans to keep them out. They backed up the Brits when they were fighting the French. They backed up the Brits in a lot of things. And it was quite often the Canadian militia who were, you know, like they're fighting the Americans. Again, the Brits are standing up in bright red, walking across the field. The Canadians are down on the ground sniping at the Americans. So the Brits never really learned their lesson. Very thick skull. So very, very important part of the Canadian militia, the Canadian military are the militia. And Lieutenant Colonel Armstrong wanted to establish a militia unit out in Canada. He originally started in 1902, but he was not given permission to raise it, so it didn't go anywhere. He tried again in 1905, and then finally on April 1st, 1910, he was given permission to establish a militia unit. He established the 103rd, so 103 unit out here. And it was quite popular. It means you get to run around and, you know, shoot guns and things like that. So they did very, very well out here. He got to be the commanding officer as a lieutenant colonel, so he did very, very well. Now, unbeknownst to him, in 1910, because he didn't have that foresight, his unit would become very important in Calgary. It would be the recruitment unit in Calgary during the First World War. So people would be enlisted into the 103rd. They'd get some very basic training with the 103rd. When there was enough of them, they would be sent east, where they would get more training, put on ships in Halifax, sent over to England, where they get more training because the Brits didn't feel we could train ourselves very well. So they would always send us to Salisbury Plain and train us some more, and then they would go into the trenches in Flanders. So very, very important unit for that. It's also very important to remember that when Canada fought in the First World War, we did not send our military. We sent the Canadian Expeditionary Force. They were militia units. Our militia fought our First World War. So we fought as citizen soldiers, as they said. Every Canadian that was over there was a volunteer. We did have some conscription in the First World War, not too much of it, but they were a volunteer and they were coming out of a militia. So very, very important to remember. All right, so we are going to go.
What's the story of his death? Is there any significance, or is it?
No, he just died.
What about his wife? His wife died early, eh?
Which one? I think he had 3 or 4.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yes. It was about Peter Prince's style. He had about 4 wives as well. I don't honestly know. I know there's Mrs. Pigeon. She was Pigeon. She's buried in here with him as well, because her son pointed out her grave to me. But you don't really know the story of the wives too much. Women didn't do anything. They stayed at home and looked after the kids, and even if they were accomplishing things, 9 times out of 10, nobody recognized that as important. So you didn't really hear too much about that. Okay, we are going to head